So, should you buy Mad Max in 2025? Alright, so here's the thing. Every couple of months I see someone post a clip from Mad Max with the caption, "Man, this game was so underrated." And honestly, they're kinda right. It's been nearly 10 years since the game came out and somehow people are still talking about it. So naturally, I went back and I replayed the thing in 2025, and I've got some thoughts. Because even after all this time, there's something special about Mad Max that still hits. But also a few things that definitely don't. So let's talk about whether this game is still worth your time today. I still remember the first time I played Mad Max. I didn't expect much going in, honestly. I thought it'd just be another movie tie-in cash grab. But then I hit the gas for the first time and it just hooked me. The deep roar of the interceptor, the endless desert, and the chaos of ramming into convoys. It all just felt so raw. The world looked pretty dead but alive at the same time. Like, you could almost taste the dust in the air. And it's weird because even though the story was kind of straightforward, the vibe carried the whole thing. Just the feeling of isolation and desperation. It nailed it better than most open world games today. But what really stuck with me was how different it felt from other open world games. Everything was rust, scrap and screaming metal. No lush forests or shiny cities. You are not collecting flowers or doing side quests for random villagers. You were scavenging for water, ammo and fuel, just to survive another day. It certainly wasn't polished, but it was honest. And now, replaying it in 2025, that first drive through the wasteland still hits hard. And you know what's funny? Mad Max still looks amazing today. Like, way better than it has any right to do for a game from 2015. I expected some crusty, washed out PS4 visuals, and instead I got this insanely cinematic lighting, those heavy orange skies, and a harsh sunlight that makes everything look hot. And it's not even about the high-end graphics, it's about the art. Everything in the game feels intentional. The shadows, the storms. It's gritty but kind of in a beautiful way. Like there's nothing left to save. And for me, that's what makes it stand out even more today. So many modern open world games feel bloated or really empty. But Mad Max does so much with so little. It turns this emptiness into atmosphere. You're driving through miles of nothing, but it doesn't feel dead. It feels lonely, sure, but in a way that totally fits the world. I'd honestly say that's what makes the game timeless. It doesn't try to wow you with lush scenario or fancy reflections. It just commits to the wasteland. And this commitment makes it hit harder now than it ever did. Like when you play Mad Max compared to something like Forspoken or even Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you realize how Mad Max nailed the atmosphere way better with way less. These games technically have huge worlds, tons of markers and activities and visual variety, but they just don't feel alive. It's like walking through a theme park after closing time. Meanwhile, Mad Max gives you a busted car, a desert, and somehow it feels more immersive than the games that came out nearly a decade later. So let's talk about the gameplay loop, because this is where Mad Max really shines. First off, the combat. And look, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of messy, but in the best way possible. You're punching warboys, throwing them into walls, and kicking guys off cliffs. And sometimes they just go flying in pretty ridiculous ways. One minute you're like, yeah, I'm a wasteland hero, and the next you're laughing because some dude just bounced off a rock and died in a way that made zero sense. It's definitely not polished, but it is fun. It's unpredictable and it keeps you engaged, because you never quite know what kind of disaster you're gonna create next. And then there's the driving. The magnum opus isn't just your car, it's basically an extension of your chaos. You can swerve, boost, ram, blow things up, and it feels weighty and responsive. I do find that because of the weightiness and the responsiveness of the car, sometimes in the beginning, taking turns can be a bit challenging. But after playing for an hour of 10, you'll have adapted to this and it will just feel fine. And then you also have scrap collecting, which honestly sounds boring as hell. But in Mad Max, it's one of those little things that somehow keeps you moving. Some nights I just went from wreck to wreck, grabbing scraps while dodging patrols and trying not to flip over the car. Just collecting scrap while watching YouTube videos at the same time. And honestly, this was probably one of the most relaxing and fun times I've had with the game. And there's something about seeing your car slowly get meaner with every upgrade and knowing that all this chaos, smashing convoys and blowing up towers, is paying off in a tangible way. It's not busy work, it's a reason to keep driving into the madness. Honestly, I can't remember a game where collecting the main progression currency was this relaxing and fun. Okay, so the story isn't exactly amazing. You're Max, he's mad, and the wasteland is brutal. And you're out for revenge against Scabrous Scrotus. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But this is the thing. It doesn't need to be complicated because everything else in the game is telling the story for you. The setting, the isolation and the desert, the constant threat of danger. It nails the vibe of the movies in a way most licensed games don't even come close to. You actually feel like you're surviving in a wasteland and not just following waypoints on a map. Maybe I even dare to say this game captures the feel of a Mad Max movie better than most of the Mad Max movies I've seen. Now, the world design and the exploration. Can it be repetitive? Sometimes, sure. You'll hit a stronghold, liberate it, drive to the next one, rinse and repeat. But to me, it never got boring. The driving and the chaos mixed with the combat and the environment makes the MP stretches feel like part of the experience. And the side content, like I said, the scrapping cars, collecting the upgrades, and chasing down convoys, it all feels meaningful. And maybe I didn't appreciate it enough the first time around. Alright, so let's talk about Mad Max's performance, because this is one of these things that makes or breaks older games if you run it on newer hardware. It pretty much holds up surprisingly well. It runs smoothly, you have no weird stutters, no crashes. I've played it on a few different setups and even the explosion-heavy battles feel pretty solid, which is honestly impressive for a 10-year-old game. And if you're on PC, I like to run the base version, but the mods and patches out there make it even better. Higher resolution, improved textures and a few quality of life tweaks make the game feel fresh without changing the core experience. The technical side of Mad Max might not be flashy, but it's rock solid. And that's what you would want. Especially for a game where you drive around a lot and have explosions. So, my final verdict. Here's the bottom line. Should you buy Mad Max in 2025? Honestly, it depends on what you want. If you want a game with chaos, freedom and explosions that makes you grin from time to time, then absolutely. The game nails this post-apocalyptic, everything can explode vibe in a way that still holds up today. Driving the magnum opus across the wasteland and ramming convoys and just causing mayhem never gets old. On the other hand, if you're looking for a deep story, crazy missions or something that constantly surprises you, it may be not for you. The plot is pretty simple. The side missions can get a little repetitive and it's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but honestly, that's kind of the point. It's a game more about the experience, the thrill of the destruction and the satisfaction of upgrading the magnum opus. So yeah, 10 years later, the loop still works. And that's why for me, I'd still pick it up today. And it's only a few bucks if you grab it on sale on Steam. Quick note, if you wanna support the channel, all the things I use are linked in the description. So, until next time, and thank you for watching.